Jim Jones's life was going well until a video appeared on Twitter that abruptly changed everything. In the video, reality star Brooke Bailey slapped Jim Jones' son Putty outside a nightclub in Miami. Jim Jones is furious and accuses Brooke and his mother, Mama Jones, and his friend Chrissy confront him about the incident. Despite their anger, they are also disappointed and worried about Jim Jones' behavior. And they believe Jim Jones made matters worse by attacking Brooke when he should have handled it differently. Jim Jones tries to defend himself by saying that Putty was just calm when Brooke slapped him after accusing him. However, the viral video makes it seem like he's the bad guy. Now on Instagram, Brooke Bailey is playing the victim, while Jim Jones' reputation is in ruins. Brooke leaves with a $90 million divorce settlement, and Jim Jones is left to pick up the pieces. Was this just bad timing? Or did Jim Jones, the rapper and Harlem's best, was living his normal life in the spotlight when Brooke lured him into the disaster that is now blowing up his life? He was no stranger to controversy, but this time it wasn't about his music or career. Rather, it was something more personal that would blow up all over the internet, destroying Jim's reputation, one viral video at a time. But let's go back in time. Jim wasn't expecting this He wasn't even in New York, where the majority of his headlines are created this time. Instead, he was in sunny Miami, trying to hide his identity. However, as is often the case in the world of celebrities, sometimes this just makes things worse. A quiet night at a club turned into a media frenzy, and it was all captured on camera. This is an absurd image of Brooke Bailey, the reality TV personality best known for her appearances on Basketball Wives and other shows. The drama that goes along with it is seen outside the club when she unexpectedly slaps Jim's son Putty across the face. Did you hear that Brooke Bailey slapped his kid? The internet was probably anticipating this. Jim's son was allegedly going about his business when Brooke accused him of making fun of her. But whatever it was definitely over the line. Brooke, who never backs down, immediately approaches Putty and slaps him across the face. The video captures Jim's rage when he sees Jim Jones, a cool-headed rapper and businessman, charging at Brooke without hesitation. When it comes to family, everyone knows the rules. If you mess with my son, you mess with me. However, Jim didn't account for the cameras and the reaction that was about to come crashing down on him. What happens next? As soon as the video goes viral, everyone's online behavior goes crazy. The problem is that when you're in the public eye, especially as a celebrity, your every move is scrutinized, analyzed, and distorted. Jim Jones, Mama Jones, his protective mother, and Chrissy, his longtime companion, have completely different opinions about it. Social media is a flurry of opinions, comments, and of course memes. Some people applaud Jim Jones for standing up for his son, while others criticize him for doing so, because Jim Jones is a mature man who physically attacked a woman. Mother Jones was furious because she taught Jim Jones to be a man of respect and to think before acting. But now her son had thrown all of that out the window. Chrissy was more than just disappointed. These two women, who have witnessed Jim at his best and worst, are now concerned about the bigger picture because they understand how easily things can get out of control in the world of celebrity. She was worried that Jim Jones had handled the situation badly, and the more they considered it, the more they realized that it could ruin everything. Jim should have stepped back and considered a different approach, but in the heat of the moment, he acted rashly, and now they were all left to clean up the mess of what should have been a typical family argument that went viral. Brooke Bailey, the astute celebrity, isn't wasting any time and is now playing the victim. While Jim Jones tries to defend his actions and clear his name, Brooke is sharing her version of events on Instagram, portraying herself as the innocent party and Jim Jones as the angry villain who lost control of his rage. This is a well-known tactic, and in this instance, it might work to her advantage because she received a $19 million settlement in her divorce. Did she know exactly what she was doing all along, or did she coerce Jim into responding? Chrissy couldn't help but wonder if this was the beginning of the end for Jim's family dynamic, because it wasn't just a slap that caused harm. The public's perception of their family is now hanging by a thread. Imagine being putty 1 minute, enjoying a night out, and then being slapped by a reality TV celebrity. The bigger problem is that you're now dragged into a major public fight and the father is portrayed as the villain, and Jim was already feeling the heat from the public and those closest to him. Chrissy, his lifelong partner, and the woman who had been through everything with him, were worried about not only the image they had created together, but also what this drama would mean for their relationship and careers in the future. Meanwhile, Mama Jones, the matriarch, was not going to let her son be seen as the antagonist in this situation. So she brought Jim Jones up to be a man of honor in order to control his temper. However, she didn't anticipate that her son would become so emotionally unstable that he couldn't see past the moment as things started to get out of control. Jim Jones attempted to defend his actions, but he wasn't just protecting his child. He was defending his family, and he wasn't going to back down. However, the damage had already been done. The viral video was all over the internet, and even if Jim Jones' version of events made sense, the more people watched the video, the more they felt as though they were witnessing an emotional breakdown, and some were quick to draw conclusions. However, in the world of social media, that's just the way things work. When you're famous, your flaws become everyone's laughing stock, as we saw in part. Now, Jim's life wasn't just in the tabloids for his music or his character. It was now connected to this moment. The public was eager to join the bandwagon. And Brooke, a reality TV actress who is no stranger to controversy, was playing the victim card like a pro. What happened next? Let's talk about the aftermath. Jim Jones had no idea what was going to happen when the viral video of Brooke Bailey hitting his son Putty outside a nightclub went viral. Despite Jim Jones' best efforts to justify his actions, his reputation suffered greatly. Not only was the public watching, but Jim Jones' longtime partner, and even his mother, Mama Jones, were also watching, and believe me, they were not happy with what Jim had done. Chrissy, his girlfriend of more than 10 years, had supported him through all of his highs and lows. But this time, her displeasure was clear, and she wasn't just worried about the public outcry. She was also worried about their future, because Jim had made mistakes. But this time, it felt more personal. Chrissy's main worry wasn't just about the viral video. It was that Jim didn't think things through before launching into Brooke, which is the kind of reaction she would expect from a mature man. If Jim had just taken a moment to step back, things could have gone very differently. But instead, he acted like a man on a mission, and now their lives were in a precarious situation. It wasn't just about Jim Jones and Chrissy Lamon. Mama Jones was in full mama bear mode and wasn't going to. Mama Jones didn't get upset because Jim Jones stood up for his son. Rather, she was upset because he didn't handle the situation the way she wanted him to. It wasn't just about protecting family. It was about defending their reputation and their heritage. And now that legacy was at risk. And it was all up to Jim Jones. Mama Jones had brought Jim Jones up to be a man of respect, teaching him the importance of patience and self-control. Couldn't take a step back But let's talk about the internet's reaction. This is where things get even worse, interestingly, because even though Jim Jones tried to justify his actions, the internet had already decided, and there was no going back once the video went viral. The entire world was watching Jim Jones' every move and didn't hold back, labeling him poisonous, aggressive, and unstable. The footage showed him rushing at Brooke. Bailey was busy doing what she does best, playing the victim. She knew exactly how to use the media and social media to her advantage. Balki was not the one being dragged over the internet. No, she was the innocent person, and Jim was the villain. Bauk turned to Instagram to explain her side of the story, posting about how she had been wronged and how Jim was the one in the wrong. Bailey aired on a loop, stoking the fire of public opinion, exposing Jim Jones was trending. It didn't take long for sympathy to rush in. Brooke's supporters were quick to congratulate her for standing her ground and exercising restraint, while Jim's supporters were increasingly left without a strong case. And let's not forget the great in. Amidst all of this drama, it was revealed that Brooke had left her marriage with a $19 million settlement. How did Brooke manage to pull this off? She knew exactly what she was doing when she slapped Putty, and Jim's reaction was exactly what she needed to pay out big time. Brooke's career is built on controversy. Every minute she is in the spotlight enhances her reputation, and this slap hurt. The world was gold for her. Is it possible that she foresaw what would happen when she slapped Putty? Could she have planned the entire thing to ensure she won? That's a question that people are beginning to ask, given that she ended up with a large divorce settlement after all of this. But don't you think the drama is getting worse? The underlying tragedy in all of this isn't just about Brooke and her victim narrative. It's also about the toll it's taking on Jim's family. The Jones family has always taken pride in being a cohesive unit, and both Chrissy Elkin and Mama Jones supported Jim during his darkest moments. But this situation is different because Jim's actions have caused irreparable damage to their reputation. Chrissy Lamin was not only Jim's business partner, but also his right hand and emotional support. However, following this incident, Chrissy's faith in Jim Jones started to wane. Could she really stay with him after everything that had transpired? Could she support someone who had acted carelessly and possibly harmed everything they had fought for? It was a tough pill to swallow, and it made Chrissy question her future with Jim Jones and Mama Jones. Mama Jones had been the one to advise her. One thing is certain though, Jim Jones needed a miracle to mend his relationship with Chrissy, Lampkin, his mother, and the public. He had lived by these ideals for a long time, but at this point, even Mama Jones was unable to defend her son because she believed he had gone too far. She was starting to worry whether Jim Jones had completely lost his way because of this disaster, and whether there was any way he could regain the trust of the public. He was now in damage control mode after being hit hard by controversy. Every interview and social media post was being scrutinized, and there was no way out of the raging digital fire. Brooke Bailey was still enjoying the warmth of her new victim's fame, but the question was how long she would play this game and how far she was willing to go to ensure she remained the center of attention. She had already witnessed the full effects of the historic event between Jim Jones, and as we move into the final chapter of the story, it's clear that this is far from over. Let's examine the long-term effects of the drama that unfolded and the damage this has caused to both of their careers. For Jim Jones, this is a turning point. Sure, he has experienced public feuds and reality TV moments before his rap career, but nothing like this. Nothing has hit him this hard this soon, and this publicly, as evidenced by the video of him storming toward Brooke Jim Jones. is now in a situation where everything is on the line. This isn't just a passing moment. If he doesn't handle it now, it could be the end of his career. Jim Jones has always been a fighter, both in his personal and professional life. But the problem with this wasn't just any fight. His response to Brooke's slap wasn't just a random little clip that would go away after a few days. It sticks to you and stays like a poor reputation. Passionate, quick, and dangerous. He didn't just slap back at someone. He slammed back at his entire image, his family, and his profession. What will happen to Jim Jones next? Can he move past this humiliation? Or has the legal drama and public outcry finally overwhelmed him? One thing that is often overlooked in these kinds of situations is the legal ramifications. When something gets this big, there are always questions about who is suing whom. Though there has been a lot of discussion about the drama, we haven't really looked into the legal aspects of this case. However, let's face it, both Jim Jones and Brooke Bailey will have to answer for this incident in some way. Brooke's slap wasn't just an emotional outburst, it was a physical altercation. And as we've seen time and time again, the police don't take these things lightly. Imagine the headlines. Brooke Bailey will be assaulted. Charges for striking Jim Jones's son, or Jim Jones being investigated for striking Brooke Bailey, would both send the media into a frenzy and spark even more controversy. Legal issues often last for years and only worsen the situation in the eyes of the public. If the courts get involved and Brooke is forced to pay damages or face charges for her carefully fabricated victim narrative, her victim image could soon change. Perhaps everything will fall apart, but it's not just about Brooke. Jim's public image has already been damaged, and he now has to deal with the possible legal ramifications of his own actions. After all, even though his outburst was emotionally motivated, it was still a violent altercation, and the law might view his violent reaction as more than just defending his family. Will Jim be held legally responsible for assaulting Brooke? That's a possibility that shouldn't be dismissed. Jim and Brooke have been in the entertainment industry for years, but how long can they continue to ride the famous train after the crisis? For Jim Jones, things are difficult. His career has been all about loyalty, family, and street credibility. But this most recent tragedy shows that devotion only goes so far. Let's change the subject to their careers. Dealing with legal issues and public outrage is one thing. If people stop trusting you and stop seeing you as a respectable person, your music career may quickly take a nosedive. Additionally, the public perception of Jim's actions may cause sponsors to rescind contracts, and whether he likes it or not. His protective father has now been broken and is now seen as a hothead who doesn't think before responding. Jim Jones's actions have left him open to criticism and harm, and since the entertainment industry is notoriously competitive, corporate sponsors don't want to be associated with someone who is seen as a liability. As a result, he may find himself struggling to stay relevant in a world where Brooke Bailey is still riding high on the victim narrative. But for how long will the reality TV industry remain a whimsy? One minute you're the star, the next you're people can only sympathize for so long before they begin to wonder, what's her angle? In addition, the $19 million divorce settlement is a huge sum of money, and we all know how these things go. Did Brooke truly deserve the payout, or was this just part of a larger game? Yesterday's news will make people tired of her victim complex, and tired of hearing her version of the story over and over again on Instagram. The more Brooke plays the victim, the more people will wonder if there's more to the story than she's revealing. In the end, fame and controversy have a price for both Jim Jones and Brooke Bailey. This whole incident will leave a mark. Jim's reputation has been severely damaged, and even though he may attempt to move on, the world will not forget this problem. Anytime soon, he has public relations work ahead of him. Although Brooke may seem to be out of trouble for the time being, history has shown that scandals can come back to haunt people. If there is one thing we can be certain of though, it is that this controversy has affected both of their careers forever. Whether they are able to repair their damaged reputations or succumb to the harsh pressures of public opinion is still up in the air, but one thing is certain, the drama is far from over. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. And remember to like and subscribe for more amazing developments as we continue to follow this story, people. The scandal between Jim Jones and Brooke Bailey played out in ways we never would have imagined. Do you think that Jim Jones can make a comeback after all of this? Or has this controversy been the last nail in the coffin for his career? Will Brooke Bailey continue to ride the wave of compassion? Or will the backlash catch up with her? Could he get over it? What about Brooke? Will she continue riding this victim narrative? Will her